I know exactly how you feel right now. It was the same for me. I watched my crew die, one by one. I knew that this was the end. But with my last breath, I found deliverance.
Who the fuck are you?
I'm a survivor, just like you.
The odds of your sister beating us, they were always small. Given the recent complications, it's just made things worse.
Even if there is only 1% chance, you should never give up. Ever. I just want to go home.
You are home.
Congratulations on The Occupant. I'm always someone that I love going into films knowing very little. Like, I didn't watch the trailer. I was like, I'm not gonna have anything to influence me, which is the best way, because obviously things in this movie are not as they seem, which I always appreciate as a genre person. So I'll just say congratulations to you both, because yeah, having an original film out at the moment seems like a rarity. So it's very nice to see.
Thank you. That's the point. Thank you.
And I'll just ask you first, Hugo, like, I guess, Abby's physical survival seems like it's deeply connected to her emotional survival, like, desperation for a sister, isolation, the ambiguous, helper, we'll say. Like, as a director, like, how did you want I guess, like, the landscape and the isolation to reflect her internal state? Like, did you see the wilderness as an antagonist, like a mirror, or something else?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. I think I always see genre as a really good way to explore human behavior and the human condition. And with this film, which is essentially a drama about someone coming to the acceptance of something that's very difficult to accept, how do you externalize that, and how do you take the viewer on board with that journey that's not just kind of like happening inside somebody's mind, and you have to externalize that. And that's why having all of these physical challenges and this confrontation with nature and with death really helps kind of like breaking down this character to the point that all that she has left is herself and the choices she's about to make, right? So essentially what I said is, like, basically what you're watching is a kitchen sink drama. But in this case, we took the kitchen sink and we threw it into Georgia, into the snow and the ice, because I think that's the best way to reach a larger audience with a pretty difficult theme.
Yeah. No, I mean, no, we sometimes the whole throwing everything with the kitchen sink thing works. And like this, it really, really worked with this. I'm just gonna say, Ella, like, performance in this is fantastic. Like, it's like so much of it is you. And your character, like, she's not, it's not just like the elements, it's like she's fighting time and guilt and grief and her own mind, essentially. Like, I guess, how did you access that raw desperation while also maintaining her resilience? Like, was there a moment for you that was, like, I guess, the hardest emotionally to get through?
First of all, thank you. I'm thanking it means a lot you saying that. To be honest with you, I remember the first day that I kind of sat down with Hugo and was like, like, we're in Georgia, the country, and we were like, okay, what are we doing? We got to set out in 3 days to the Caucasus Mountains. Let's figure this out. And I remember I said, why did you write this? Like, why? There's a very big theme here, but an emotional truth that I haven't read in a long time in a script. and Hugo would be able to speak on this much better, much more eloquently than I could, but he shared with me a couple of very real truths with me, about, the kind of intention behind this story and where it kind of came from. And that was kind of the moment where I was like, you know what, we've got to just go like all in here. And I remember saying to him, I was like, here's where I am in my life and how I'm feeling about stuff right now. And we're about to go set across this crazy endeavor. Of course, I'm like number one on the film, and lead actor means you got to, kind of keep spirits high as best you can and motivate the crew. But I was like, Hugo, if I'm with you and I'm like miserable, it's probably because I'm miserable. Like, I don't like, no one really wants to be in this situation, but like, let's use that.
Mm.
Like, let's really not try and pretend to do this whole performing whilst you're, the second you arrive on set, you've got to put on the performance straight away. I'm like, no, I'll be so real with you and how I'm feeling that day, and let's see how we can channel that into the character. And like, I would be lying if I didn't say like every single day I woke up and was like, damn, okay, here we go. We got to go and like do this thing today. Um, and I think that truthfully was almost like every day was super hard, regardless of the physicality of it. Physicality, the side of the Caucasus Mountains just depends on how fit you are, to be honest.
Mm.
But the resilience aspect was then having to channel these emotions, remembering why you're doing it. Like, this character, she's not saving the world. Most of the time, you have these big plane crashes and the helicopter crashes, and they've got to save the planet because they've got to give a doctor some serum, and it's all, I don't know, something like that. This is like a very quiet, humble, quite painful, and very real struggle for this character. And she's not saving the world by any means, by
Mm.
any means. Um, and I think because it was so humble and so truthful and quiet in that nature, that was the element that really grounded everything in that
Mm.
way that you're describing. Because it's so easy to get tropey and be like, oh, and then there's an avalanche, and then like, this is like, no, those avalanche moments instead are emotional avalanche moments,
Mm.
when it's sat quiet, suddenly realizing what's going on and what she might have to do and change about her perception.
Mm.
Quite a long-winded way to say it was just really emotional.
No, but I mean, I like that, like I've had, the pleasure of speaking to a lot of different actors and directors, and I find that the truth in anything is always the best. Like whether it's like comedy or horror or drama, like it's like if you find truth and you find your way in, that makes it, whatever the situation is, makes it very easy for us as audiences to be like, I can see myself somehow in this situation. And like you were saying, you weren't saving the world, but essentially, like you're saving your, like her character's world, really. Like it's really, really, really beautiful to see how layered everything is. And for both of you, like, Ella, was there something that I guess Hugo gave you as a director that unlocked Abby for you? And like Hugo what surprised you most about the way Ella inhabited Abby?
You want me to go first, or Ella, you want to go first?
I want to go first. I want to know what your input is on this.
All right, so I'm gonna go first then. So I was like, because the way that we shot this all on location, which in hindsight was not maybe the smartest decision, but like somehow we felt like we had to do it. We had to really go to these actual places, like way up north in the Caucasus Mountains in the wintertime. And because we shot it at the end of the season, we had to kind of like reverse the shooting order almost. So we had to start with the biggest stuff on the ice lake and all the like the really terrible cold stuff where Ella goes into the ice lake, for example, and then work our way back to like the more emotional family scenes that we shot in Ireland actually in the last week. And that gave me the opportunity to work with Ella by really throwing her into these circumstances and from there slowly peeling away and getting to this, yeah, this little girl that's inside Abby that has to come to kind of like a decision that will make her yeah, a mature person in that sense. You know, like the most difficult decision, because when it comes to, yeah, somebody's inevitable death, everybody's always focused on survival, and that's why this film is about survival, because that's what everybody's focused on. But if a person accepts her own death, then something else starts to play. You know, like what is the meaning of the time that you still can spend together? And that's a much more like intangible truth. So, and to arrive there, I think was really nice to go through all these layers with Ella, because she is such a like gifted actress when it comes to the technical side of it. Like I was completely blown away, because shooting in the real snow meant we only had one shot to do it. Otherwise, we had to move the whole set like 300 meters to the right, because yeah, we would ruin the snow continuity. There's no resetting real snow. So we talked through the scenes like beat by beat, and like on the first go, she just nails it. And like I was like, oh, I was so thankful of like that somebody so skilled and so experienced was on this film, and then was also able to go to this emotional journey as well.
That's interesting for me to hear. I I would say for you, the the thing that I really loved and appreciated was the fact that you allowed me to be that technical actor. You allowed me to do my process, and then the bit that I love and hate you for is that then the second I'm in the process and then you're like, okay, we've got everything we need, you would then like fully push me to the absolute edge of the cliff, metaphorically, of emotional, like heightened emotional states, even if they weren't loud, even if they were just quiet. Um, I think there's a safety that I've known on set very much, where it's just like I've done my thing. 9 times out of 10, it's because the cam we need to go again because the camera's something or the lighting something or different angle, and then I just do the same thing again. We wouldn't do that again because we have one shot at doing it until we then have to start cutting into close-ups and you lose the sort of magnificence of the landscape. Yeah, Hugo would push me really hard. He'd be like, "Oh, remember that thing you told me this morning about you feeling like this? Yeah, now's the time." And he'd do that. And then not a lot of directors really have the like bravery to like push not just another actor, but another human being to like really feel those emotions. So it's hard to do that. So yeah, I think Hugo's just a very resourceful director, I think, which is really cool to work with.
Well, I think leaving on hearing, Hugo's a resourceful director, Ella's an incredible actress. I think that's the best way to wrap up everything. I could honestly talk about this film for a very, very long time, but I know you've got a very long press day ahead of you. So I just want to thank you both so much for taking the time out. It's as I said, it's so great to see films like this have a platform and be out there in the world and be made, because I feel like we're sort of losing the art of originality. So it's really, really great to see. And yeah, just congratulations again. I'm very excited for everyone to see this, and to this is like the first thing I've seen of yours, Hugo, so very, very excited to see what's next. Ella, like everything you've done, I'm like here for it. Very, very happy. So thank you both so much.